Oh, it is. It is another episode, a Thursday episode of Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I am Alex Donno, taking you for the next, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes or so. Maybe some of you would rather me not be on for as long. Maybe some of you are pissed. You're like, damn it, bro, this guy's usually on for like an hour and 20 minutes. I am in a super secret, undisclosed location. Had to just kind of get away for a little bit because I'm taking care of my son today. As you can see from the backdrop. You like this? That is a Paw Patrol backpack, my friends. So I am in the chambers of my home that are usually occupied by my 4-year-old level 2 noob. Hello. And yeah, man, I literally saw this update about 10 minutes before we started the show. That's why I was like 30 seconds late starting the show today, because I wanted to make sure to kind of dot my I's and cross my T's on what was going on. But yeah, Chris, the Finns tailgate, 100% right. I did see this news come out. I don't know exactly when it came out, 15, 20 minutes ago, I think. I saw it about 10 minutes ago. The Dallas Cowboys are expected to release Lyle Collins. Go out and get him, Chris. Not Chris Adams. Chris Greer. Go out and get him. You need to go out and get Lyle Collins, right? Now, listen, I know you may still be thinking about taking a shot at Teron Armstead. You've already, seen some tackles, unfortunately, signed with other teams. The Dolphins, as we talked about yesterday, I believe we're taking a gamble, right, with the Collins-Armstead situation. Taking a gamble perhaps on both of them by waiting for Teron Armstead to make up his mind, because he's not going to make up his mind until he knows what Deshaun Watson wants to do, right? Does Deshaun Watson want to go to the Saints, in which case Armstead, who's a free agent from the Saints, would probably want to stay there and contend for a Super Bowl potentially. And then with Lyle Collins, who has been on the trade block, right? If a trade offer did come in and the Dolphins were waiting for him to become a free agent, you were taking a gamble. Because what if, like Amari Cooper a few days ago, didn't actually get to the open market because somebody went in and traded for him? Well, the gamble has apparently paid off with Collins. Dolphins need a right tackle. They need any tackle, but yeah, they need a right tackle. And Collins is out there. He's going to be now free agent, right? So the Dolphins need to go in there and get him. And I would be curious to see how the market shakes out for him, because, he's been released, or he's being released now. Had he not been released, he would be due about $10.2 million next year under his contract. So I'm curious to see if he and his agent can find a market good enough for him where somebody would actually pay more than what he was due next year, or if the Dolphins or somebody else can potentially get him for around that $10 million figure. But and yeah, listen, I like this from Alex M, and he's not wrong. Jesse Davis gave us PTSD and anxiety. And by the way, speaking of Jesse Davis, do you really want Jesse Davis to be lining up against Von Miller next year? Von Miller, who's been signed by the Buffalo Bills. This is more incentive to go out there and get a tackle. More incentive. You signed a really good guard in Conor Williams. I want him to play left guard. I don't want them to experiment moving him out to tackle. Well, certainly not right tackle, but I don't even want him moving out to left tackle. I want him playing left guard. We know the Dolphins need a tackle. Go out there and get Lyle Collins, man. Let's make it happen. And yeah, it's a good point, Shake Money. He's got to clear waivers. That's an excellent point. Hello to Big John Stud, my dude. By the way, if you guys missed yesterday's show, that was one of, and they're all good, but that was one of the better appearances I think that Big John Stud has made on the program. So that was really good. So if you missed yesterday's show, go back on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube and find Donno Daily from 24 hours ago and just bust out some popcorn and enjoy. Martina writes in, it's becoming crunch time for Chris Greer. No tackles of quality, no hope, no job. Get it done, Greer. Get it done. I see every hour that passes by, I see more and more Chris Greer sleeping memes going around on social media. And keep tagging me in them, by the way. People will tag me. Like, somebody tagged me in a meme where there's some dude completely asleep in a subway car, and they're like Chris Greer on the job with the Dolphins. I enjoy that, man. Devin Jordan, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. He says, Donno, this is a passing league, but it sounds like the Dolphins are going to have a ground and pound offense. And you're right. I don't necessarily see any problem with that, especially when your starting quarterback is a bit limited. And honestly, the type of offense the Dolphins are going to be running, it's tried and true through multiple generations, right? Mike Shanahan, his Broncos teams in the 90s, it's gone through basically wherever Mike and Kyle Shanahan have coached. We've seen different incarnations of it. Atlanta, San Francisco, most recently, and they make tweaks on it over time, right? And of course, our guy Mike McDaniel is a big one of the factors who has made tweaks on that offense in recent years. So it's like you have sort of the formula there, and then you just kind of tweak some of the variables and make it evolve over time. It's a tried and true offensive scheme. So I don't see anything wrong with more of a run first offense, especially when I think it fits your personnel. And it's going to take pressure off your quarterback, especially if maybe you don't have the best pass blocking in the world. I hope we come out of this offseason with better pass blocking. Brooklyn Rob says Big John Stud was about to have a seizure yesterday. He was fired up, man. He was good. He left the vape pen at home yesterday. He came strong yesterday. So yeah, the breaking news that came out shortly before we went live at 2:00 is that the Dallas Cowboys are expected to release right tackle Lyle Collins. I know there are a handful of teams who want him, Miami Dolphins included. But go out and get him. I need to see Lyle Collins at some point in the next couple of days as a Miami Dolphin. So, all right, let's talk about free agency to this point. And I get it. We are officially on day 2 of the new league year. 4 days into free agent week, which includes the legal tampering period for a couple of days. And I know there's still work to do. I know we haven't drafted yet. I know we've not signed and released every player that's going to be released. So the Dolphins roster is not a finished product. It's not. But I think by this point, where you've spent the majority of your money and you've made some big additions and some not so big additions already, we can kind of start to get an idea what the Miami Dolphins are going to look like in 2022. And hell, there are a bunch of other teams out there, some of who you're going to face next year, who are making big moves out there. So we get a better idea now of where our beloved Miami Dolphins are going to stand in the NFL pecking order, the AFC conference pecking order, and the AFC East pecking order. Because unfortunately for us, the top dog in the AFC East, they look like they're getting even better. They were already really good. Buffalo looks like they're getting even better. Now, I got to tell you, I was sad last night when I saw the news and I heard the news that the Dolphins are losing Mac Hollins. Losing Mac hurts, man. Up until last night, the Dolphins, they were making a lot of positive additions without making any significant subtractions, right? But we got one last night that hurt, and it hurts every real Dolphin fan, every hardcore Dolphin fan, every Dolphin fan who pays attention. They all feel terrible about Hollins going to the Raiders. He signs a 1-year deal in Las Vegas, right? I mean, I don't think I saw a single Dolphin fan on social media yesterday who was like, yeah, I don't really care if he's gone. No, everybody was like, man, this sucks. A lot of people sending well wishes to him, like, oh, hey, Las Vegas, you got a really good one. Hollins is going to be awesome there. So, yeah, he signs a 1-year deal in Vegas. And this one hurting, it's a double whammy, guys, because it's not only about losing Hollins. And on the Hollins part of it first, it's a very productive receiver. Underutilized, right? I mean, not a number 1, not even a number 2, just didn't get a whole lot of looks, but I believe underutilized, very productive wide receiver. He averaged 15.9 yards per reception last year. This guy is a big play, move the chains, clutch receiver. I mean, he caught a couple of long ones from Tua last year. The year before last year, he was part of that Fitz miracle, right? He caught that pass while Ryan Fitzpatrick was being, just clotheslined in order to get the Dolphins that victory over Las Vegas. So not only is he underutilized, yes. So it's not like you're losing your number 1 receiver, very productive receiver. But the big thing, guys, about losing Mac Hollins is he's also a team captain, special teams captain, and he's an elite gunner. So you're losing something special teams wise, probably more so there than you're losing on offense. But still, I trusted Mac Hollins when he was in a position to play offense. You trusted him to make plays, make big catches, very good blocker. I think, as Big John Studd and I have talked about at times, he's also big enough and probably versatile enough to play a little bit of tight end if he needed to do that as well. And he's off to Las Vegas. But most of all, guys, and this is another reason why losing Hollins hurts so much. I have a hard time reconciling the fact that the Dolphins are re-signing Preston Williams while losing Mac Hollins to Vegas. Because you can't honestly expect Preston Williams to help this team more than Mac Hollins would have. Williams, I always want to call him Preston Wilson because that was a baseball player, but Preston Williams is never healthy enough to get on the field. And the few times he doesn't play special teams. So he automatically doesn't help you as much from an overall football standpoint as Mac Hollins does. Honestly, and the Dolphins have had some W's here. They've made some good signings, and until Hollins, they hadn't lost any players of note. I think losing Hollins while keeping Williams is the biggest L that the Dolphins have taken so far. Because I'm not going to call offensive tackle an L yet, because they still might get one. They still might get one, right? Because, Barry, I thought about this last night. And I think I meant to tweet it, but I didn't, because I don't know what the hell I was. I was hosting a soccer stream last night. He says, is it ironic that Hollins made that Fitz catch against the Raiders and now he is a Raider? And that was almost 2 seasons ago. I know that you've got, different people coaching and making decisions there in Baltimore, in Las Vegas, but they probably thought we got to get this guy. Like, look what he just did. We got to sign. I'm surprised they haven't signed Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point. So, okay, let's talk about the latest additions the Dolphins have made since I was last on yesterday. Some of these came down last night. One of them came down this morning. The Dolphins have added fullback Alec Ingold, running back Raheem Mostert. I think this is great, honestly. I'll start with Mostert because he's obviously the bigger name in that bunch. It's not expensive. 1-year deal worth a little over $2.1 million. So even by running back standards, you didn't have to pay a lot to get this guy. Still, I consider this to be an upper tier running back move. And I didn't expect the Dolphins to make 2 upper tier running back moves in this free agent period, right? After signing Chase Edmonds they agreed to sign Chase. I think they have signed him by now, but agreeing with Chase Edmonds on the first day of the legal tampering period, I thought then after that, I knew they weren't done at running back, but I thought after signing Chase Edmonds that the next running back added would either be a late low tier free agent or maybe somebody that they draft on day 3, right? I think this Mostert move is really, really good. Now, he was injured for most of last year, but in his prior 4 seasons in San Francisco, and you remember he was a big part of the team that made the run to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They ultimately lost, but they made the run. Previous 4 years in San Francisco, he averaged about 5.5 yards per carry in those 4 years. And yeah, most importantly, and you're seeing McDaniel going out there and getting a lot of his bros that he coached in San Francisco, right? I hope he can find a way to bring Deebo Samuel to Miami, but he's getting guys that he coached before and guys that he coached against and watched. Like Chase Edmonds was in the same division, so he knew this guy's going to fit my scheme perfectly. He knows this system, does Mostert. He knows and really likes McDaniel. When his agent released a statement about why he chose Miami, they mentioned the familiarity with McDaniel and the familiarity with this offense. So I think that's a good fit. Now, Alec Ingold was the other move, fullback. I love fullbacks. I know it's a dying breed in football, NFL, or college, but when you run a system like this, where you're going to have a lot of times 2 backs on the field, you're going to utilize a fullback. I think it's great to get a guy who's been in the past as productive, and I think can be productive in this offense like Ingold. The Dolphins needed a fullback. We knew they were going to sign one at some point. This guy can block. He can pick up short yardage. Doesn't carry a whole lot, but when he does, he's usually, I don't know, maybe I can throw out for the OG Dolphin fans who remember like more than 10 years ago, maybe a little bit of Lusaka Polite in his DNA. He can pick up some of the short yardage, but he can catch out of the backfield. And I think that's the biggest strength that Ingold is going to bring. He's going to have big impact on 3rd down. You're going to see him make some clutch catches on 3rd and short to move the chains. And again, he fits the system perfectly. And you've noticed a theme. right? The offensive players that the Dolphins are bringing in are not just good players in a vacuum. They are good players who especially fit this system. So you're not trying to put square pegs in the round holes. I like it a lot. Now, the Dolphins, they've made a ton of moves, okay? We're only now 4 days into free agent week, 2 days into the opening of the league year. I think there are two questions we can ask ourselves, okay? And try to be civil, because I see a lot of people on Dolphins Twitter fighting. Life is too short. It's just sports. It's just social media. I said this yesterday. Like, I don't want people losing friends over whether or not you think, Tua's an elite quarterback or whether or not you think Chris Greer knows what he's doing. It's like, it's sports, man. Let's banter. Then let's all drink beers and hold hands, sing Kumbaya. And speaking of drinking beers, today's St. Patrick's Day. I'm not wearing any green. I'm the worst. I don't like to conform to societal conventions, right? Like just because people like, oh, you've got to wear green or you're going to get pinched. Nobody's pinched me today. I've been around I dropped my kid off at daycare. I had to take my car to get serviced. I was in Publix today, not wearing any green. Nobody pinched me. Don't even worry about that. And yeah, I'm an old man. I'm old. I'm a dad. I wake up early in the morning. I'm probably not even drinking tonight. No disrespect to the Irish. None. But I'm not going to observe St. Patrick's Day. I'm sorry. But for those of you out there who are observing and are celebrating today and getting completely, well, what do they say across the pond? Over here, we say drunk. I think over there, they say pissed. So if you're getting completely pissed tonight, God bless you. Enjoy it. But I'm going to be in bed by like 9:30 tonight. It's just, it is what it is, man. I live that dad life. So we got to ask each other a couple of questions here as we evaluate free agency so far. And it's not over. Not over. Now that we see Lyle Collins is going to be a free agent, I hope we pounce. I hope we put in that waiver claim, and I hope we get him. So 2 questions. A, how much better have the Dolphins gotten on paper? How much better has the rest of the AFC gotten on paper? We got to remember those 2 factors. Now, unfortunately for us, the Bills were already the class of the division, and they're crushing it, okay? Yesterday alone, they added O.J. Howard to their offense and Von Miller to their defense. We play the Bills twice every year, okay? The Dolphins do play the Chargers this upcoming season. They've added J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack to their defense. They're trying to revolutionize their defense. They're getting better. I really like their quarterback. Sorry for saying I really like the Chargers quarterback. We don't have the Broncos on the schedule next year, but they seem to be revolutionizing their offense. They traded for Russell Wilson a couple weeks ago. The Broncos, they're a team that they considered themselves a quarterback away, an elite quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. So they got their elite quarterback. Let's see what the Broncos can do. The Ravens have gotten better. The Dolphins do have them on the schedule again. Now, I hope that next year's game goes like last year's game, right? Where, we just completely confused their offense and crushed them. But we have the Ravens on the schedule next year. They have added right tackle Morgan Moses, who's a guy I was interested in for the Dolphins, but he signed in Baltimore. They've added safety Marcus Williams, pass rusher Zadarius Smith. So, okay, let's address the Dolphins part of it. And I want to hear from you guys on this as well. Oh, this is Jim, 100% right. To beat the Bills, you've got to be great in the trenches, which means the Dolphins still have to get better in the trenches, okay? Bills look tougher, Alex says. Someone will overpay for Lyle Collins. He's right. That's honestly why. And I don't know what overpaying means at this point, but I think he could very well get more per season than he was making on his previous deal. That's what scares me. That's why I thought, hey, maybe you want to trade instead of waiting for him to be a free agent. Maybe you want to trade for him because then you know exactly how much you have to pay him next year, which would have been $10.2 million. And now I don't know what the open market is going to have. Jeff Creed says, if we don't sign 2 tackles before Saturday, I'm done. What's today? Thursday? I think he might be done, bro. Just being real here. You're setting the bar too high. I'm done if they don't sign 1 tackle by Saturday. 2 tackles? You might as well start trying to find the next team to root for. Jeff, can you answer this for me? Answer it in the chat. If the Dolphins do not add 2 tackles by Saturday, you say you're done. Are you completely done with the NFL? Are you going to start like taking up knitting on Sundays, or are you going to maybe pick another team to root for? And who would be the other team? I would have a problem with that, right? I mean, I'm 37 years old. I've never seen the Dolphins win a Super Bowl. They've been mediocre or worse for more than half of my life because the last 20 years have not been very good. So for more than half my life, they've been in this perpetual state of quicksand. You'd think at this point, I would have decided, you know what? Maybe I'll just find another team. But then that's hard because I'm Dolphins are in my DNA, man. I've got aqua and orange blood. So it's like, even if I were gonna quit the Dolphins, I would have a hard time like latching on to anyone else. Like, it's just because being a Dolphin fan, I don't like any other team. There are certain teams I hate more than others. Jets, despise them. Bills, despise them. Patriots, even though I always loved Tom Brady, I despise Belichick. I despise the Patriots. And then even every other team in the NFL, Chargers, Broncos, Packers, they all annoy the hell out of me. So I think I would just quit. Yeah, Jeff says he's done with Miami. Listen, I can respect it. And yeah, I see this. I see this in the chat even already. There's a ton of impatience and anger towards Chris Grier, the Dolphins general manager. I don't think that this free agent period so far, it's not been bad. It's certainly not been terrible by any, like, some people make it out to be like, oh, every move has been awful. What are they doing? I'll say what I said the last 2 days. I like most of the moves that they've made, except for keeping Preston Williams, especially losing Hollins. That's a double hurt now. But I like most of the moves the Dolphins have made. It's just more frustration about the move that they haven't made yet. And that's an offensive tackle. But I don't believe this has been a bad free agent window so far by any stretch of the imagination, okay? I strongly believe, though, that Grier needs to add a tackle. Also, listen, I think it's worth noting that this is part of the frustration, I think. Many of the moves that the Dolphins have made have been depth signings over glamour signings, right? Like, they're not blowing the wad on they did pay a lot to keep Emmanuel Ogbah, which I think was important. But they're not like blowing their wad on like one or two really top tier guys. They've been spreading the money out, including keeping a lot of their players. And I know that that's frustrating, right? Because if the Dolphins had gone into free agency and just spent 75% of their money on two great offensive tackles, I would have been fine with that. Instead, they're spreading out the money. They're making a lot of depth signings. But you know what? When you have a football team that I think is far from complete, especially on offense, you've got to spread some of that money out. And also, the defense has been good the last couple of years, and you had a ton of guys hitting free agency from that defense, and they wanted to keep the band together, including the depth guys. So instead of, like, the $60.2 million of cap space is what they came into free agency with, instead of just spending all that on a couple offensive linemen and a few other pieces, they've spread the money out, and that gets frustrating for fans. And, I asked this question on Twitter today. In fact, let me see if I can hold on, because I can talk about it, but sometimes, especially when I'm on video, right? You guys get to stare at my face. Maybe you don't want to stare at my face constantly. You want to look at other things on the screen. So let me see if I can pull up the results for this, and I'll share it on the screen. And I know my guy Brooklyn Rob was a little bit critical of me putting this on Twitter, because he knows how miserable our fan base can be, and he was expecting negativity. And so, hold on, I'm just gonna pull this up real quick. Share screen. Man, I'm so bad with technology. It would have taken Manny Chang 3 seconds to pull this up, but it's taken me like 3 minutes. Okay, so here was the question that I asked. Based on the coaching change and the roster additions so far in all caps, because we're not done yet, how much better do you expect the Miami Dolphins to be than their 9-8 record last season? So the four choices are same or worse, which means 9 wins or fewer, 1 win better, 2 wins better, 3 or more wins better. Okay, so the negativity is getting drowned out a little bit, because I posted this a few hours ago, and for a long time, same record or worse was in the lead. But they've been outpaced now by 2 wins better. So 2 wins better is now the leader in the club. So 11 wins, people are thinking. That's now the leader in the clubhouse with 34.1% of the vote. same or worse in second place at 33.5% of the vote. One win better, which I think is what I would have voted for, and I'll explain why, is at 25.6%, while three or more wins better is only at 6.7%. So there's some positivity, but not overwhelming positivity. On Shake Money, thank you so much. Says, hey, what's wrong with knitting? I knit while I watch the Dolphins. It keeps me from breaking furniture. Honestly, the thing that keeps me from breaking stuff is I've got a really expensive TV at home. Because like back in the day when I used to have like the 10-year-old crappy TV, I would throw stuff at it. Like when Jay Fiedler would throw pick sixes back in the day, I would like throw a shoe at my TV because what that TV would have been worth like $30 at the swap shop. Like I didn't. But now that I've got like I don't know what it is, like a $1,200, $1,500 TV, whatever it is in my living room, I treat that thing like it's the most prized possession in my home. And honestly, it probably is. I don't think I have anything in my home that is worth as much money, at least at the time that I bought it, as my TV. So I'm very respectful of my I don't have to take up knitting. I do take up meditation sometimes because the Dolphins do that for you. So yeah, I think that the Dolphins will be one win better, or at least one win better, right? If they go 10-7 next year, then they're very much in the playoff race. I mean, 10-7 last year could have been good enough to get them into the playoffs. It would have gotten them into the playoffs. So, and let me make the case for positivity before I make the potential case for negativity. Okay, even without changing the starting quarterback, the Dolphins have made their quarterback room better. Okay, by flipping Jacoby Brissett for Teddy Bridgewater. For what it's worth, Teddy Bridgewater, if he had been on the team last year instead of Jacoby Brissett, and he had to start a handful of games last year, the Dolphins would have been a playoff team last year. And if Teddy does have to start, God forbid, a handful of games next year, he is not going to single-handedly cost Miami games like Jacoby did last year. Teddy would have won either the Raiders game, the Colts game, or both that Jacoby Brissett screwed the pooch in last year. So, and also to be optimistic on Tua, maybe Tua will get at least a little bit better next year. I mean, if he can throw allegedly 71 yards on the practice field with Lynn Bowden, maybe he can have a better season next year. But even if Tua remains the same, Teddy Bridgewater makes the Dolphins quarterback room better. So there's that. The offensive line, there's still work to do, as we know, and hopefully there is a tackle arriving soon. But I would argue strongly that the addition of Conor Williams is a positive one. He alone makes the line slightly better, okay? Also, and I don't think this gets talked about enough because people just look at players. They just look at who's leaving, who's arriving. Let's not pretend that coaching wasn't a problem for the Dolphins blocking last year. I mean, we can admit we had an offensive line coach last season in Lem Jean-Pierre who was not qualified to do that job. And we also had a mess at offensive coordinator. Now, Lem is actually still on the staff next year, but instead of being, the lead dog offensive line coach, he's like third in the pecking order. So I can live with that because I think he needs to learn. But last year he was the O-line coach, and he was just not equipped and not capable of doing that job. So let's not pretend that wasn't a part of the blocking problems. And now, okay, we have at least an offensive coaching staff this year that actually might be able to teach the carryover linemen, right? The guys from last year. And I think Robert Hunt is the best of that bunch. I think he can make some big steps forward. But for all the carryover guys from that O-line that we don't like, and Liam Eichenberg heading into his second year, he's still very young. I'd like to believe that an offensive lineman out of Notre Dame is going to develop into something because that's an offensive line factory. I'm hopeful that the coaching staff can actually teach them better technique, give them a more dynamic blocking scheme. I think that's going to come. So, yeah, I think the offensive line unit, which is not finished, I think is going to be at least a bit better and maybe dramatically better than it was last year. So that's some positivity. I can give you very obvious positivity at a couple of the offensive skill positions. Running back and now fullback as well with Ingold is receiving a dramatic overhaul. Last year, your number one running back last year, for most of the season, that is, was Myles Gaskin, who I don't like. But Myles Gaskin is now third on the pecking order at best, okay? Chase Edmonds, which is one of my favorite moves the Dolphins have made, he should be the guy that gets the most reps with Raheem Mostert, who, knock on wood, is healthy next year because he was injured last year, who knows McDaniel, knows the offense. He's going to be a close second in the workload, okay? And yeah, I already talked about how Ingold, solid pass catcher, solid fullback. He's going to add a solid element to the season next year. Wide receiver is a mixed bag, but I think it's a net positive, okay? I'm downright pissed and sad to lose Matt Collins. That sucks, but I would still say that losing Hollins and adding Cedric Wilson, I think that's a net gain, certainly on offense. Now, special teams, you lose a great one with Hollins, but on offense, I think it's a net gain. Keeping Mike Gesicki, obviously he was on the team last year, so I can't say that like makes the team better next year, but keeping Gesicki was important. I can't wait to see how Mike McDaniel uses him. On defense, it's basically status quo, continuity. Keep the band together is basically what they did with, a unit that was really bad the first half of the year last year, but they were ascending in the second half. And I think a lot of that ascension had to do with, guys like Javon Holland, Jalen Phillips, Brandon Jones developing and getting better throughout the year. And, you should feel pretty good about the defense, just seeing what they've done the last couple of years. They got the same coordinator. So listen, I can argue just based on the roster, strictly based on the roster, before we even finish free agency or get to the draft, that this team on paper got 1 to 2 wins better. Now, I also expect the offense to get better, even if Tua doesn't get better, because they've added some good players. They're going to have a scheme that's been proven, multiple different generations, multiple different teams, going from the Shanahan Broncos teams in the 90s to the 49ers teams most recently. But unfortunately, and this is why I'm going to go with 1 win better and not 2 or more wins better, the team being built on paper does not take into account variables like possible injuries, which happen in the NFL, strength of schedule. I do think the schedule looks a little bit tougher next year than it was this past year, which is a pretty soft schedule. So let me and here's the list of opponents for next year. You're gonna and I also have whether they're home or away, which is important because the Dolphins surprisingly had a virtuoso defensive performance against the Ravens last year. That was a home game. You play at Baltimore this year. Baltimore's getting better. You play at Chicago, at Cincinnati, who just played in a goddamn Super Bowl. You play at Detroit, home and away against Buffalo, of course, home and away against New England, home and away against the Jets, home against the Cleveland Browns. Oh, and by the way, they're now fully committed to Baker Mayfield. Because apparently they're out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. So Baker, after writing like an open farewell letter to his fans, he's their guy. They're fully committed to Mayfield. You've got the Steelers at home, the Packers at home, Minnesota at home. You're at the Chargers. That's one of those teams that's getting better, like significantly better. You're home against Houston. Who the hell knows what Houston's going to look like next year? And you're home against San Francisco, the McDaniel Derby. Mike McDaniel gets to go up against his buddy Kyle Shanahan. Like they'll probably those guys are such good friends. They'll probably both like feel guilty about scoring against the other. They love each other so much, these guys. Douglas Anderson says, and listen, I get a lot of this in the responses to my tweets. And listen, I respect it. You guys know that I'm not sold on Tua. I'm not but it's like you have to look at it from 2 different perspectives, okay? I get frustrated with Tua because he's not what we paid for in the draft, right? He's not a 5th overall pick. That's part of my frustration. I know it's not his fault where he got drafted, but I don't think we're ever going to look back at Tua Tagovailoa and say, I'm so glad we used the 5th overall pick on that guy and not on Justin Herbert. That doesn't mean Tua can't improve. That doesn't mean you can't build the type of offense that can hide his deficiencies the way that San Francisco hid the deficiencies of Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I would prefer, obviously, to have an elite quarterback under center. You don't necessarily have to have an elite quarterback to make a deep playoff run. But it's why I'm frustrated. I just don't think that we're ever going to say, yeah, 5th overall pick for that guy was a fantastic move. Doesn't mean I don't root for him. I'm a Dolphin fan. I root for whoever puts on the jersey. But the comment from Douglas says, offense isn't going to get better if Tua doesn't get better unless Bridgewater takes over early in the season. Just think like, real talk. I do think some people are overestimating Bridgewater a little bit. Like, there's a reason why he's in a spot where he's signing for a team to be a backup. Like, Tua doesn't have a great arm. Bridgewater probably has a worse arm. Now, Bridgewater, a little bit more of a running threat. The fact that he's been in the league so long, I think he's a little bit more decisive, and maybe just based on Tua last year, I think Bridgewater would probably, on paper, be a better decision maker. But like, I don't think like I'm not expecting to have this open competition in training camp and Bridgewater just blow away the competition. No, I think in training camp, it's probably going to look pretty close, and maybe Tua will be slightly better than Bridgewater. That's what I'm thinking. Now, sometimes, the way you play in practice doesn't translate to games. Maybe when the bullets are live, Bridgewater's experience, 8, 9 years in the NFL, he'll make some better decisions. But some people seem to think that there's this like grand conspiracy. Like if they opened up the competition, Teddy would beat Tua flat out. I don't know about that. I mean, I love having Bridgewater as a backup, and I think he's going to be a big improvement from Jacoby Brissett. But I'm not sitting here lying to myself and saying that Bridgewater is a clear-cut better option at starting quarterback. It's possible though. For one thing, the Bridgewater lovers I think overrate him a little bit, but the Tua lovers I think underrate him a little bit. Because if there were an open competition, I don't think Tua would smoke him. I think it'd be similar and maybe a slight edge for Tua. Thank you so much for the super chat, Brooklyn Rob. We love you. Here is some cash for Manny's defense fund. Can only assume he is in jail. Put this to good use. If he is in jail, he doesn't want me on his jury. I'm a seasoned veteran of our legal system. I served as a juror last week. And listen, if I were on Manny's jury, I don't even have to hear the facts. Guilty. Lock that guy up and throw away the key. But yeah, Manny is he's in the woods today, I think. For some reason. And you know what? I don't know if that might be bullshit. Because today's Thursday, right? Usually Manny goes to the woods on Wednesdays for his survival training. He might, though. He might see what's going on over in Ukraine, and maybe he's upped his survival training to like multiple days of the week. I think that might be what it is. Because he does this survival training. Manny can survive for 20 years with only a buck knife and a cigarette lighter. Like, he doesn't even need the lighter. He can rub 2 sticks together if he has to. But if the shit hits the fan and like we all have to take to the woods, like if the global economy collapses, most of us will die, because if you take away electricity and internet from me and like grocery stores, you take that away from me, 2 weeks, I'm dead. Okay. Like if you take away all the modern conveniences, I will not survive. But if you take away modern conveniences from Manny Chang, he'll live till he's 100. So he might be right on that. He might be 100% right on that. He says Alex makes it seem exciting to do jury duty. I enjoyed it, man. I'm telling you. The only thing that I don't enjoy about it is they make it, and part of it is because I've just been like a combination of too busy and too lazy to follow up with it enough times. Like they owe me money for it, because if you aren't like full-time employed, because I work full-time hours, but in like 4 different jobs. So, and when I was on jury duty for 4 days, I wasn't getting paid for doing my job. So they're supposed to pay you like an hourly rate for jury duty. They make it very difficult to get paid. And I think they do it on purpose, because I think their logic is, if we make the people who do this, who are self-employed or part-time employed like I am, if we make it very difficult for them to get paid, a lot of people will just drop it, forget it, move on with their life, and they don't have to pay. I'm not going to drop it, bro. If it takes me 5 years to get like a $300 check that they owe me, I am going to fight for 5 years to get that money. That's the only thing I didn't like. I thought serving was fascinating. Sitting through a trial, very interesting and very educational, and it was exciting. Enjoyed being on a jury, but I do not enjoy how difficult the local government makes it to actually get paid for your service. It was very difficult. Martina says Tua elevated a loaded Alabama team. Well, yeah, but hold on. Did he really? And on a serious question, did he really elevate them? Because Mac Jones actually had an even better year the following year with a lot of the same talent. So did Tua really did Tua elevate them, but Mac Jones elevated them more? Or is it possible that the talent elevated Tua? He can elevate the Dolphins. It was always going to take 3 to 4 years after his devastating hip injury. I hope you're right. But at the same time, and Jalen Hurts had some good games with Bama as well. The first couple of years of Hurts were rough, and that's why Tua got the opportunity to take his place. But then Jalen played some other good games. He went to Oklahoma and dominated. Mac Jones took over for Tua. He was fantastic. Mr. AC Milan says Mac Jones faced garbage teams. Did he? Like, I guess I'd have to look back at. I mean, is it ever a garbage schedule in the SEC? Maybe. I don't. Oh, he didn't face Clemson or LSU. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, he did put up even better numbers than Tua did that year that he was in charge of the offense. Indage says Dolphin Nation should come to terms that Lyle Collins may not be a Dolphin. It's a good point. He's right. There's going to be a lot of other bidders. He's got to clear waivers. What happens if he's not a Dolphin? Like, do we take to the streets? Like, what do we do? Like, we'll probably just complain on Twitter like we always do. But yeah, that would be a depressing thought. I've gotten my hopes up. I mean, we started the show 2:00 with the breaking news. Dallas Cowboys are going to release Lyle Collins. So the gamble of not trading for him to wait for him to get cut, actually, it's paying off here. All right, I want to remind you, friends, well, a couple things. Different ways to support this show and this channel. And we've already gotten a handful of super chats today. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you so much. And of course, the super chat is not mandatory. The live chat, it's free. You guys can engage as much as you want to, zero charge. Now, if you do use the super chat, not only are you expressing your appreciation for the channel and you're donating some money to the channel, which is awesome. But also, like, if you do a super chat, guaranteed your comment is going to get read. Like, I can't read literally every single comment, but I do read every single super chat comment. So that's one way to support the show and the channel, to leave us a super chat donation, whether it's a couple of bucks or a bunch of bucks. Anything is appreciated. It helps us. It helps us put a little money in the pockets of the people who do these shows, and it helps the channel grow. Maybe I can build like 2 different studios. So if I'm doing a show on a super double secret location like I am today, maybe I can get like a backdrop behind me to make things look better. So that's one way to support the show, is through the super chat. Another way, which is completely free, is just smash the like button. Hit the like button, the thumbs up here on the YouTube page. I know not everybody's doing it, because the number of views we get per day is always higher than the number of likes we get per day. So it takes a second. And I guess, like, if you don't have like a YouTube account, like if you have a Gmail account, a Google account, then you're logged in on YouTube and you can leave a thumbs up. I think those who don't have those accounts cannot hit the thumbs up, but if you can, hit the thumbs up, because that helps grow the channel. That's the most important thing. And subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. And then the other way to support the channel, and my show specifically, is support the businesses who support us, right? Because, these businesses don't get behind me for fun, right? They don't just say, you know what, we like that guy, I don't care, we're just going to give him money, and I don't care, if anybody actually, wants to use our services or not. No, I mean, you can support us by supporting the businesses who support us, and you can start off, my friends, by eating dinner tonight or anytime during the weekend, watching some games out there. It's an awesome sports bar with delicious food. The Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Make the Quarterdeck your spot to watch every big game. We got a little tournament going on in college basketball, I've been told. Head out and watch those games at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. And whenever there's a UFC pay-per-view fight, you can head out, watch it at the Quarterdeck for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door to watch a UFC pay-per-view at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. They got 2-for-1 drink specials all day. 2-for-1 happy hour never ends, man. I love sucking down those 2-for-1 margaritas. They're so good. Head out there for St. Patty's Day tonight, man. The beer is always cold at the Quarterdeck. Wear something green. Wear one of those leprechaun hats. They'll have the green beers out there, man. Take advantage tonight. tonight, my friends, St. Patty's Day at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. If you want to find the location nearest to you, or just check out their menu before you go. I like to pick out when I'm going to eat before I get there. Check them out online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And speaking about that college basketball tournament, my friends, we got games hitting us left and right. You can bet on all of them at our official sportsbook, betus.com. They are America's favorite sportsbook. They are the 3-decade leader. They've been around for 30 years, guys. Tried and true. Happy clients and customers for 30 years. It is fully available in Florida, by the way. You log on to betus.com on your smartphone or on your computer, and there is nothing on that site you cannot do from the state of Florida. That includes live betting on all the big games. You can bet before the game starts. You can bet during the game, including props, parlays, over-unders, money lines, spreads. They have it all there at betus.com. Here's what you want to do. So we're going to give you the best bonus in the industry. You're not going to find a bonus like this anywhere. I have perused the betting space, and there's nothing else like this. When you sign up with our code, and you'll see it when you're creating your account and making your first deposit, they're going to ask you, do you have a promo code? You do have a promo code. You have our promo code. It helps our show out, and it helps you out. So type in 5RSN125. Type the code in, 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. That means if you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 of free play money on top of your deposit. That'll get you through a weekend, man. I mean, if you're like a super high roller, maybe you deposit $1,000 and then they give you $1,250. That'll get you through a couple of weekends, probably, my friends. So take advantage of this. And by the way, it's not just sports betting. I think this is the most underutilized feature on the site. They have a full casino in there as well. It's like having Las Vegas on your smartphone. I'm telling you, they have blackjack for real money, all sorts of table games, slot games, and you can bet as little as $1 on blackjack. So like sometimes it's bored in the afternoon. Let me play a little blackjack on betus.com. I'm telling you, make sure you sign up with our code 5RSN125. You bet, you win, you get paid. betus.com. Let me throw some shout outs here. Douglas, thank you so much. Super V, we appreciate you. Mike, thank you so much for tuning in. Indeed, our guy. Let's see who else. A lot of people today. Jim McEwen says, indeed, what happened when Burrow lost to Tua 29-0 in 2018? Bama had a better team. When Burrow beat Tua by 5 in 2019, they had a better team. No matter what your argument is about college stats, Joe Burrow's better than Tua. I can end the debate right there. And Dolphin fans shouldn't even really be upset about that because, you know, Burrow was not available at number 5. And the Dolphins they tried to trade up to get Burrow. And Cincinnati smartly said, no. I mean, you know, we're about to draft a generational. We're not going to move out of this. We don't want your trade package. We want Burrow. So, you know, if you're going to blame anybody, I guess blame Flo. Blame Flo for not taking the alleged offer from Mr. Ross of $100,000 per loss and not tanking it. So, you know, it's no one's you can't blame Chris Greer on that one. You can blame Chris Greer on passing on Herbert for Tua. But you cannot blame Chris Greer for Joe Burrow not being a Dolphin. Let's see. Alex M says, I love BetUS way more than DraftKings. And I've never, I know like DraftKings does like a ton of advertising. I've actually never used it before. Because I'm happy with BetUS. He says, I placed a prop bet of Masvidal first round KO win versus Colby. $100 would have gotten me $1,500. Great format, many ways to win cash. Oh yeah, he's so right about that. When you go in at betus.com, you see their logo right up there. 5RSN125 is our code. You can get lost in the props in a good way. Like you hit on the little button that says show prop bets and it'll melt your brain in a good way because you're looking through, oh my God, I can, like on a fight, I can bet on a first round KO. If it's a football game, you can bet on the first player to score a touchdown. You can bet individual over-unders, like how many catches is this guy getting? It's a lot of fun. I appreciate the endorsement there. Let's see. Mr. AC Milan 1111. That's my Italian football fan, clearly Italian soccer fan. I am an Inter Milan fan. He is an AC Milan fan. Ooh, it's a tight race for the Italian league going on currently. Currently his team is ahead of mine. So we'll see how that one plays out. Joseph Rodriguez, hello. MM, who I think he's talking about Lyle Collins, says he is going to the Bengals. I don't know. I think that's his opinion. I do know the Bengals want him, and I do know Bengals fans want him. So we will see what happens there. Let's see. I like to try to shout out everybody I can. Martina, I think I shouted you out already, but you get a double shout out for being awesome. Let's see. Brooklyn Rob, and yeah, he writes about Collins. Bengals also interested. Bengals offensive line coach Frank Pollock was Collins' position coach his first 3 years in the league. I didn't realize that. So the Dolphins have serious competition here. Yeah, and I think it was In Dade who said Dolphins fans need to prepare themselves for the idea of not getting Collins. If we don't get him, man, we're just going to be very angry on Twitter. That's how Dolphin fans take out their anger. Tony Two Times says, since you served on the jury, is that it, or can you be called again? Yes, you can be called again, but you are immune for just 1 year, actually. So, like, if they were to send me a letter within the next year, like, hey, come to jury duty, I can show them my certificate and say, fuck you, I served within the last year. But if they call me like even 13 months from when I did it, I would have to go again. And you know what? It would be an honor and a pleasure because I enjoyed being the jury foreman. Kinda. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I learned a lot from it, and I will never forget it. And that's life is a collection of experiences, is what it is at the end of the day. Mike, thank you for using the live chat. Tony Kidd, thank you. Oh, I'm glad I pulled this one up. Tua is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know if he's the worst, but I bottom half. People are going to be mad at me for even saying that. Oh, the Tua stands, they don't like me. I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend. Yeah, I don't hate the guy. I just, I don't love him either. Even Steven, I'm in the middle. Let's see. A lot of comments today. Thank you guys so much. I already shouted out Brooklyn Rob, but I'll shout him out again because he made a super chat today. Robert L. Slappy Jr. If that's your real last name, I am so sorry. If that's a made-up last name, it's kind of funny. Thank you so much. He says, I've been a fan since 1983 and been an Eagles fan since 1992. Was stationed in Philly in my U.S. Navy days. Well, thank you for your service. Let's see. Sal, thank you so much. Why is everybody assuming this guy can coach against the big boys? Talking about McDaniel. It's a fair point. I think he can scheme against the big boys. There's more to being a head coach than scheming, though. Like, and it's why you see a lot of successful coordinators not become successful head coaches because, building a playbook and calling plays doesn't necessarily translate to being a CEO. Because being a head coach, it's more about being a CEO than a schemer. The coordinators and assistant coaches do more of the micromanaging. So, listen, I like Mike McDaniel. I think he's got a hell of a personality, and I respect the work that he's done in play design as, an offensive coach, running game coordinator, offensive coordinator. But yeah, listen, your comment is fair. Like, we have no way of knowing if he can be a head coach amongst the big boys. That's part of the adventure. We will all find out together, right? Let's see who else. Barry, thank you so much. He says Alex is a Tua hater. I'm convinced now. How dare you? How dare you accuse me of being a Tua hater? By the way, my posture in this chair sucks. I don't know. I need to get this is not where I usually broadcast from. I've got like a folding chair in here, like the kind that the pro wrestlers hit each other with is the kind of chair I'm sitting on. My spine just hurts. I got to wrap this up soon. Jeff Collins, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. I don't know who he's talking to here. In Too Deep 941 homophobe. I don't know the context there. I don't know if he's talking about somebody in the chat or talking about me. I don't know what anybody said. Let's see. Joe, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Oh, Shake Money. Thank you so much again for the super chat. We appreciate you. True Blazer, thank you so much for tuning in. Love you. Well, I say I love you. I'm not sure if I've seen you before in here, but I do love you. That's all. Just say something. Just make a comment, and I automatically love you. Once Watson is traded to somewhere other than Miami, he says it will be official for me. I'm out. Ooh. So that's what it's. So you might as well already be out then because he's not coming here. So like, does it really matter? Like, if he's not coming here, I think you're. Why does it matter where he goes? I think you're already out. Andrew Harris, instead of fins up, he says up fins. I like it. Our guy Chris, the Fins tailgate, one of our great fans. He says hopping in real quick, smashing the like button. Watch the video later, guys. Hit that. He's right, guys. Please hit the like button. That's the easiest way, quickest way, freest way to help us out is smashing the like button and also subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Yeah, I agree with this, Alex. Chase Edmonds is going to be a good one. I love that addition a lot. And then like Mostert feels like the icing on the cake because I wasn't expecting both. Like I thought maybe we'll get Mostert or Edmonds. We got them all. I just hope that they can block for these guys, right? I mean, hopefully they have at least like a yard, to get free before they're tackled. Oh man, Devin Jordan, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it. Trying to see if I missed anybody. My guy, Big John Stud. I was built for war. He's like a Sherman tank. He was built for war. I see no lies there. Level 2 noob. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I think that's it. If I missed anybody, as always, I apologize. I don't skip anybody on purpose. I just, I scroll up and down. Human error sometimes comes into play. And yeah, before we sign off, I want to remind you guys, please support the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill, quarterdeckrestaurants.com to find the location nearest to you. Head out there for St. Patty's Day tonight. It's going to be awesome. BetUS.com. Sign up with our code 5RSN125. Write it down if you think you'll forget it. 5RSN125 for a 125% sign up bonus. Hold on. I think a few late comments came in. Want to read these before we sign off. Oh wait, I like this question. I mean, I hate this question, but I'm glad you asked it because it's a valid question. Does Connor Williams play offensive tackle if we can't get one? Very possibly they could make him left tackle. I mean, he's got to stay on the left side of the field. He's a naturally, I mean, he did play left tackle in college, but in the NFL, only left guard. That's his best position. So the short answer is I think they would consider moving him outside. I hope they don't have to because all of the positive evaluation I've given you the last couple days on Connor Williams is assuming he plays left guard because that's his best position in the NFL. That's his natural position in the NFL. I don't want to be signing a good guard and trying to convert him to tackle where he may not be good. I don't like playing musical chairs on the offensive line. I think you want to have the luxury of being able to play your offensive linemen at their best, most natural position. When you start moving guys around, and we've had a number of guys who have moved around, unfortunately. It just means you don't have a good offensive line when you're constantly having to piece together. So I hope it doesn't come to that. Let's see. I don't know who's being accused of being a two-and-ear. Is it me? Am I a two-and-ear? Am I a two-and-ear? Am I a two-hater? Tune in tomorrow to find out. And yeah, I think that's it for the shout out. So yeah, make sure you support our sponsors. We'll be back tomorrow. Should be now. I'm going to be busy tomorrow. I'm going to do this show though. I think at the normal time, 2 p.m. But I will be, and you guys can actually watch me tomorrow and listen to me. I'm going to be filling in for Brennan Tobin on 790 The Ticket. I'm going to be on with Leroy tomorrow from 6 to 10 a.m. So I've got to go to bed in like 20 minutes to get enough sleep. It's very early. I'm going to have to wake up at like probably 4:40, 4:45 tomorrow. but I'll be on 6 to 10 on 790 The Ticket, 6 to 10 a.m. that is. And they do that show live from Twitch. So I'm going to pick out like a really cute outfit so you guys can see what I'm wearing tomorrow. So that'll be a good time. So I'll be on 6 to 10 a.m. on 790 and on Twitch. And then I'll be doing this show on 5 Reasons Sports at about 2 p.m. So we will talk to you guys next time on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. See ya.